I believe we all somehow try to convince other people to change their mind. But most often, we fail. Especially when they have already made up their mind. What we got is only the fearful argument and disagreement. And wait. It's not that we argue like this all the time. I think you got the idea. It is truly one of the toughest jobs to do in the world, changing people's mind. Well, as much as I wanted to find out the formula to do so, but unfortunately I wasn't able to give you any in this video. But bear with me. Even though changing people's mind is hard, we can still learn to understand why and what is the approach that we can take instead of pushing them to change their mind. Let's talk a little bit about our heads. Human brains and mind are just so complicated. I don't even understand mine very well. So how do I expect myself to understand your mind? And how do I expect myself to understand other people's mind? Now, let's take an example that is closer to our daily life. Let's take cake as an example. Cake is made up of flour, eggs, butter, sugar, and so on. Anyway, these are the main ingredients. But once the cake is done, the texture and the taste of the cake are unlike any of the ingredients. Think about, once you cut open the cake, you don't see the texture of the butter and you don't see the texture of the eggs. And the cake doesn't taste entirely like sugar, although there is sugar inside the cake. It is just a mixture of everything. So, human being is the same. Our action and decision is just like the cake. There is a lot going on throughout our life that lead to us making that action or think in a certain way. Even psychologists need to understand someone's stories, their background, their culture, social situation, their past experience, and many more before they can understand why we say what we say and why we do what we do. Our mind is just that complex, which is why changing people's mind is just so tough to do because we don't know how they arrive at the conclusion. Well, I'm not a psychologist after all. I'm just trying to bring out the complexness of human brain and mind. Hopefully, this will show why they are so hard to change because there are just so much going on in their brain and they might not even aware of it. So, what can we do instead? Now we know that for an ordinary person just like myself, changing other people's minds seems to be a mission impossible. Unless you are the Tom Cruise in the world of psychology. What we can do is to challenge their thinking, make them rethink. Our goal is not to tell them what to do, we just want them to think about alternative. When other people ignore our advice, it's not that they disagree with it. Sometimes they are resisting the sense of pressure and the feeling that they are not in control over the decision. It's like someone else trying to make the decision for them. As a human, we don't like other people to interfere with us so much. So, what we need to do first is to be silent and listen. Do you know that the word listen contains the same letters as the word silent? When we try to convince other people to change their mind, our first instinct is usually to start talking. But the most effective way is often to listen. We need to listen to understand their situation and what they had to say before we speak. We need to somehow dance with the same beat with them. When we are willing to listen to them and give them a lot of credit on it, it's like we acknowledge what they say. That we feel like we are a reasonable person that actually take what they say into account. So a little bit of humility is what we need to open their mind. And listening well is more than a matter of talking less. We should also show interest on what other people wanted to express instead of trying to judge them or prove our own. Most people do not listen with the intent to understand. They listen with the intent to reply. When other people have the chance to express themselves, most often they will discover new thoughts. So let them speak. If you present information without permission, no one is going to listen to you. I think you got the point here. Just remember, although people want a doctor to fix their broken bones, but when it comes to problem in their heads, they often want sympathy rather than solution. They just want you to feel them and understand them. Once you have given them enough time to express themselves and you understand the situation, then it is time for you to speak. It is time for you to express your opinion and attempt to give them some advice. But remember, our goal is not to show them that we are right and they are wrong. We just want to open their mind to the possibility that they might be wrong and their natural curiosity might do the rest. If you try too hard to lead, they will resist because this is part of our defensive system. And also, when we want other people to think again, we should support our argument with a small numbers of cohesive and compelling reasons. And now, pay attention why I say small numbers of reasons. Because the more we put on the table, the easier for people to actually shake the weakest one. The easier for people to actually fight back against our reasoning. And we could lose our ground. Not because of our most compelling point is not strong enough. It is because our least compelling point is just too weak. People wasn't able to make sense of our reasoning. And if the person do not possess a rethinking mindset, it is much easier for them to actually hold on to their belief and fight back against your reasoning because you just given them the chance to do so by giving a weak reasoning. And as we argue with other people, at the same time, we should also protect their freedom. Instead of giving them commands and offering them recommendations that somehow give them a feel that we want them to follow what we say. We all should know that the person that most likely to make us change is ourselves. We don't like being forced. We always gather our own reasoning and thinking to conclude things. So if you want other people to think again, don't ever tell them what to do. You can try to give them a few suggestions. For example, like telling them, here are a few things that have helped me. Do you think that any of them might work for you? With this, we are not in a position of trying to lead them in any way. And they should have the absolute right to make their own choice. It is their life after all. We just need to initiate their rethinking cycle. Once they started to doubt their opinion and action, we have done our job. Curiosity will just take over. Well, this won't work all the time after all. Other people don't always want to talk. When the person turns hostile or maybe in anger, stay calm. When someone is losing control, your tranquility is the sign of strength. You can lead a horse to the water, but you can't make it drink. The horse will only drink the water when they really want to. We can't force other people and we don't always win. Now, we understand that it is very hard to change someone's mind. And we have talked about what we can do to actually have the chance to make them rethink. But we must not forget about ourselves. We should also dismiss our prejudice toward that person. No matter you just met him or you know her for a very long time already. We sometimes choose not to engage with people positively because of their stereotypes and prejudice. Then we end up give up on opening their mind. Our comment and advice should based on the situation and the problem, not that person. So we should also rethink ourselves throughout the argument or the conversation. And I hope this video helped you be better in your argument and debates with other people. Just remember, you have already won once they start to doubt themselves and rethink. So to sum up the video here, we should start with listening, listen and understand their situation, and then argue with some strong reasoning. And remember, they should have the absolute right to make the final decision. What we need to do here is just to spark their rethinking cycle. So that's it for this video. If you love the video, hit the like button down there, share to your friends and family, and subscribe for more of my future content. And I will see you in the next video. Bye!